Hello and welcome back to another episode of Reeltv. On our show, we report and discuss the latest movie news, as well as bring you the scoop from behind the scenes in Hollywood. I'm your host, Lindsey Lorfis.
And I'm Adam Murray. And I'm also your host, Adam Murray. Today we will be discussing...
Animation movies.
Animation,
yes.
Everyone's favorite.
Woo! So it basically started with Snow White, Disney's Snow White, and it really just brought about this whole evolution into CGI animation.
Well, I mean, it seemed
nowadays.
like, I think the whole technological, the technological revolution kind of happened in the modern times, like with Toy Story and Pixar, which we'll talk about, obviously. But I think from the time of Snow White to about like The Lion King or something, you always had it was always like a sketch. And it was always dominated by Disney. But I think now you see all these different companies coming up with all these different types of animation, and I think it's really awesome to see that animation really is making a name for itself in society. So I think the newest Disney one is what? Frozen?
Yes.
And it's from the creators of Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph, one of my favorites. Even though I was like 17 when I saw it, or 18. But I still loved it because I love video games, so or the arcade video games at least. But anyways, Frozen, I'm not exactly sure what the plot of that one is.
Yes, it's based on the story of the Snow Queen.
Okay.
So we have Idina Menzel in this film, and she's amazing. She starred in Wicked on Broadway, so I'm super excited to hear her voice, hoping that there's going to be some singing, because that would just be lovely. Yeah. Also, Jonathan Groff is in the film, and he starred in Spring Awakening on Broadway. He's also appeared on Glee as, Leah Michelle's love interest at one point. He's fantastic, so amazing.
Oh, so there's going to be singing.
Yeah, so there better be singing, and it's going to be great to hear their voices and see them become these animated characters because they're so used to using their facial expressions and being in front of a camera. So I always think it's really interesting when actors transition into voiceovers and things like that. So that'll be wonderful to see.
Usually really good actors, I feel like it's really easy to do voiceovers if you're a really good actor because all you have to do is pretty much just talk. And I'm sure they act out during the studio, but I'd be really interested to see how that goes about and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's such a great gig too.
Yeah, I know.
Showing up in your pajamas.
Give your voice. Okay, here's $1 million. Okay, I'll take it. Okay.
All right, let's do it. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I think also an interesting thing, when you think of animation, you don't really think of, movies, especially since Christmas time is coming up. The Polar Express, I think that was one of the, I think is that Robert Zemeckis?
Yes.
Polar, yeah. He created, I don't know if he created this technology, but he started using the technology of putting humans as acting, but they also put an animated part of it, so it doesn't look like they're real, but you could also tell that they're acting and stuff. And I love The Polar Express; it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. But I think it's interesting to see how they're starting to blend the live action with the animation in films and stuff, especially in today's day and age.
That's so true. It's just wonderful to see the collaboration.
Oh, I know. Yeah, especially there's. I'm trying to think. A lot of directors like to do, Steven Spielberg just did, I think, The Adventures of Tintin and the same thing. So it's interesting to see these directors trying to go out of their own comfort zone and expanding their own horizons of what they can do as directors, excuse me.
Definitely. And I feel like we've really lucked out, being born in the early 90s, because we've really seen this evolution, because you have in the early 90s, Lion King you mentioned, and Aladdin, and Pocahontas even, and then it went into... Mulan also, and then Toy Story came about, and then it led to, in early 2000s, Nemo, and The Incredibles, and things like that, and now with Tintin, recently, and just to see how we've really got to experience a lot of different animation, and I feel like a lot of the storylines have grown up with us, with Toy Story starting, and then in the third one, Andy goes off to college, and that was around the time when we were going off to college.
Exactly.
And so it's just touching to be able to relate to that. And so not only are they writing stories to relate for younger kids, because of course they love toys, but other generations can connect with the storylines.
Yeah, it really is, and especially the same thing with Toy Story 3 Monsters University that just came out. I think Toy Story 3 is more emotional, but I think Monsters University was more of the fun aspect, being friends with the people that you least expect and stuff. And I loved it. Monsters Inc. was one of my favorites growing up.
Oh, definitely.
As a kid, that and Toy Story. But like you were saying, just we've grown up with the whole Pixar generation, and I think it's interesting to see how other animation studios have kind of expanded from Pixar and done their own different things, like DreamWorks with Shrek and all those different kinds of movies. They didn't really focus on the emotional aspect, but they focused more on the satirical, or Shrek does all the fairy tales. They kind of play with those a little bit, but I think it's interesting how that kind of plays
Yeah,
in those.
it's wonderful, really. And the stories have just blossomed into then being created as musicals on Broadway.
Yeah,
Shrek
exactly.
the musical's so great. My
Yeah.
high school's even doing it this year. I'm so
Really?
excited. I'm
Wow.
like, why did I graduate? Like, I want to be in that show. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I saw that. I live by Hershey, Pennsylvania, and the Hershey Theater. I saw it there, and it was awesome.
Oh,
I
that's
loved it.
so wonderful. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And I also know Aladdin is coming to Broadway next year.
Oh, really? Wow.
So so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
To see that, and hopefully that goes well. I'm sure it will.
Yeah. What was growing up? What was your favorite animated movie?
Oh goodness, it's tough. It's really tough.
Especially as a girl,
because
all the princesses
I know,
and
because
stuff.
like all the princesses. So I'm kind of biased. But I have to say, Cinderella is of course my role model. But I really loved Aladdin. I love the music in it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And it came out the year I was born, 1992. And so it's just cool to be like, hey, I'm the same age.
Yeah,
as
I'm Aladdin. All right.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of interesting innuendos in that, and I've done some research, and it's cool to like see those, and like now that I've grown up, and
you
so
see it, yeah,
and so I just appreciate that. I think it's fun how they add little things like that into
and then
these films.
they added it then, but then they realized like maybe it was like a secondhand thing that they didn't expect. Where if you grow up and then you see it and you're like, oh wow, it's a different perspective that you never knew about.
Yeah.
My favorite was Monsters Inc. I love Monsters Inc. growing up. I always had the Mike Wazowski like pillows and stuff, and for some reason I just always liked the idea of like there could be a different universe with monsters and stuff in it. But then growing up, when I see the whole like Sully and Boo aspect of the relationship, and it's like, wow, that's a really not a happy movie. But I just think I think it's so creative, and it's just one of my favorites still to this day. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's always interesting then when you go back and watch it.
Yeah, exactly, like we were saying.
And like which scenes like just really feel so different, or how you can take new experiences that you've had in your life and relate them to that.
Yeah, and it makes the experience just that much better.
It's so wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have to say now, one of my favorites is Tangled, though. I really loved it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm just a guy. I'm a guy. I guess I have the guy perspective, the average Joe, like, oh, princesses. But no, I appreciate what it is, and it is a lot of fun to watch for all the girls out there. But I mean, for guys, it's also a date movie, so I mean,
there you go.
That's a plus for that one. But,
yeah. I love the music, but I was pretty frustrated by the ending when they cut off her hair and she was a brunette, because like clearly all the blondes have to relate to her, right? And I was like, what? Like this can't happen. But,
yeah, it's been done to me before too, but we try to keep that under wraps. No, I've seen Wreck-It Ralph I think 8 times as of right now. I have it.
Wow.
I love it. I don't know why. When I first saw it in theaters, I saw it with a couple of my buddies from high school. And afterwards, we're like, that was our childhood pretty much on screen right there, like the arcades and stuff. I had an arcade that was right by my house. I'd always play like the Pac-Man, all the different things, and to see that all of it kind of in one movie, it just was really awesome to see. And it was very clever, just with some of like the jokes and stuff.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I saw it on an airplane trip back home. I had a 14-hour flight from Vietnam back to America, and so it really kept me going. So I appreciated, the fun little aspects to it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was a great film.
Yep.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Well, animation's awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll fill you in on the latest theatrical releases and movie news.
And welcome back to Reeltv. I'm Brian C. Capon.
And I'm Adam Murray.
Next Friday, Thor: The Dark World and The Book Thief are being released in theaters. Marvel's Thor: The Dark World continues the big screen adventures of Thor, the mighty Avenger, played by Chris Hemsworth, as he battles to save Earth and all the 9 realms from a shadowy enemy that predates the universe itself. In the aftermath of Marvel's Thor and Marvel's The Avengers, Thor fights to restore order across the cosmos. But an ancient race led by the Vengeful Malekith, played by Christopher Eccleston, returns to plunge the universe back into darkness. Faced with an enemy that even Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins, and Asgard cannot withstand, Thor must embark on his most perilous and personal journey yet, one that will reunite him with Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, and force him to sacrifice everything to save us all.
My favorite Avenger. I'm excited.
Yep.
In The Book Thief, the 550-page novel set in World War II, narrated by Death, tells the story of Liesel Memminger, played by Sophie Nellis, from the time that she is taken at age 9 to live with a foster family in a German working-class neighborhood. Liesel arrives having just stolen her first book, The Gravedigger's Handbook. It will be the beginning of a love affair with books.
That sounds like a very interesting book. I have to read it before the movie comes out.
That's a great book.
The Walking Dead has been renewed for season 5 on AMC. According to AMC, The Walking Dead is the #1 show among adults 18 to 49. We are very happy to make what has to be one of the most anticlimactic renewal announcements ever. The Walking Dead is renewed for a 5th season, Charlie Collier, AMC president, said in a statement. This is a show that has erased traditional distinctions between cable and broadcast. Its expanding base of passionate fans has grown every season, most recently and most notably with the season 4 premiere earlier this month, which broke viewership records for the series and became the biggest non-sports telecast in cable history. On behalf of the incredible team on both sides of the camera, thank you to the fans, and here's more of Dead. AMC is also working on a spin-off of The Walking Dead, following a new story and characters from Kirkman. The Walking Dead returned for a 4th season earlier in October to record ratings. I never got into that show, but I hear that you either love it or hate it.
Yeah, I'm not really into it either, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Tina Fey has been cooking up a new comedy, and NBC is placing an order. Fey, whose 30 Rock comedy series ran on the network for 7 seasons, is doing the project with writing and executive producer partner Robert Carlock. Actress Ellie Kemper is set to star in the series, which is about a woman who leaves a doomsday cult and starts her new life in New York City. The comedy, which has a 13-episode order from NBC, is set to debut next fall. Carlock worked with Fey for all 7 seasons of 30 Rock, which ended its run in January. That's another show I never really got into, but I wish I did.
It was a great show, and I love Tina Fey just because she's such a great writer.
Yeah, she was good on Weekend Update for
Yes, she was.
Saturday Night Live.
And she's great as a Sarah Palin.
Well, of course, Mean Girls. I mean,
oh, yes.
I love Mean Girls.
Good news for AMC comedy fans. It has picked up full seasons back to 9 orders of Trophy Wife and the Goldbergs and 4 more episodes of Super Fun Night. Kind of surprised about that last one. Back in the Game isn't being pulled from the schedule, but it isn't getting any additional episodes beyond the 13 ordered, so it's effectively canceled.
You know, I've seen the Goldbergs. I saw the first episode, and I say, I'm excited to see more episodes from that show. It is very funny.
All right, I'll have to take a look at that now.
Yeah, it's very funny. Entertainment Weekly broke the news that Jonathan Frakes will be directing an upcoming episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that will directly connect to the events at the end of Thor: The Dark World. Frakes is a busy director for television, and he's done features as well, of course. He's worked with Joss Whedon behind the camera before, and he's got Peter MacNicol aboard as a professor whose fate is somehow connected to the events we see in Thor: The Dark World.
I think that's interesting that they're blending a TV series with like an ongoing movie franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very interested to see what happens with this one. I saw the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I was kind of like iffy about it. I haven't seen any of the recent episodes, but you know, if they do well in this one, then good for them.
Yeah, plus it's good publicity for the movie franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's more money.
Yep, of course. Fresh off an acclaimed performance in the thriller Prisoners, Jake Gyllenhaal is in talks to star in the boxing drama Southpaw, which Antoine Fuqua from Training Day is directing for the Weinstein Company. Multiple individuals familiar with the project have told The Wrap. If the deal gets signed, Gyllenhaal will play a left-handed prizefighter who wins a title but suffers a tragedy soon after and has put his life back together to earn the respect of his young daughter. Gyllenhaal is coming off back-to-back critical hits with End of Watch and Prisoners, the latter of which could land him in the supporting actor race this awards season. He's a good actor. I haven't seen too much of him, but what I have seen, he's very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very good. I saw End of Watch, and I loved it. It was a great movie. Connie Britton wants to trade her cowboy hat for a witch's hat. The Nashville star said she wants to make her way down to New Orleans to guest on American Horror Story Coven. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Britton talked about the current season of Nashville, the status of the Friday Night Lights movie, and voiced her desire to return to American Horror Story. About that possibility, Britton said, "I hope so. I've been talking to them this season because they're down in New Orleans, and I'm in Nashville. I said, okay, let's see if we can try to figure this out." Britton, who was nominated for an Emmy for her role on American Horror Story, is currently starring as Raina James on Nashville, but told Rolling Stone, "As long as we can figure it out with both productions, I'm in. I hope it happens." And I hope so too.
Yeah, I hope so too. I haven't seen too much of American Horror Story. I'm a little bit of a coward that way. I don't like to be scared. But I know that Connie Britton's a great actress. Nashville's gotten great reviews so far.
I haven't seen that, but I know it's
Yep,
she's very good. Yep. And I saw the first season of American Horror Story, and I'm excited for her to come back.
That's actually made by the guy who makes Glee.
Yep.
That was very surprising to me.
Hey, don't ask me.
Welcome back to Reeltv. I'm Alyssa Kernow.
And I'm Rachel Hine.
And USA Network's legal drama Suits just finished the first half of its third season about a month ago, and the rest of the 6 episodes of that season will air in January, and we miss it a lot, and it was just picked up for a 4th season, so that's a little bit of news to tie us over. But Rachel and I are going to discuss how the season ended and our predictions for the next couple episodes.
Yeah, the show was really, really great. I really, really like it. It's one of my favorite shows.
Absolutely.
Season 3 consisted of the Ava Hessington Oil Company and their issues with Harvey and the firm representing them. And I know that within that company, there were kind of issues between Harvey and Ava, issues between the company and Hessington Oil, and I think kind of with the Hessington Oil issues intertwined with the personal issues that go on.
And like the 3 relationships that...
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, and like the kind of the center of season 3 was based on the 3 relationships between all the characters. There's Donna and Steven, which they were Stephen Huntley. That was an interesting relationship because as much as he didn't want to admit it, it bothered Harvey, and he did admit it in the end, and it really bothered him. And then there was Harvey and Scotty, even though they're only in the last episode did he actually say that he wants to be with her, not
Finally.
just work. Yeah, we've been waiting for that for a long time. And then there's also, of course, Rachel and Mike, who, I mean, for them, they make the show for me.
What did you think about Jessica giving them basically the ultimatum and trying, when she found out, getting her that she needs to sign the affidavit? What do you think about that?
I mean, I thought that Rachel was very, very smart with the way she handled that because she did sign it, which is what Jessica wanted, and she didn't disobey her, but she also asked for something in return. She said to waive the Harvard rule, so that way Rachel doesn't have to go to Harvard, and she's going to go to school in Columbia, where
so Mike and her can still be together.
Right, so they could still be together. Yeah. What did you think about kind of the whole issue with when Lewis kind of found out about it?
Oh my gosh, I was waiting for that since the entire show began. Lewis is such a snake. I personally think he's gonna use that information just to ruffle Mike's feathers the entire time. I don't think he's gonna actually go to anyone about it. I think he's just gonna use it. But of course, he had to look, even though Sheila told him not to.
Yeah.
So what do you think is gonna happen?
I mean, okay. I have a couple of predictions. At first, I think that he's going to try to come straight to Mike about it, but then I think he won't. He'll realize that he can have blackmail by knowing this. So I think he's gonna wait until something where Mike really needs something from him.
Oh yeah.
And then he's gonna make a blackmail kind of a deal out of it. I definitely think that will be the case. I think that he will use it to his best advantage and that something is gonna shift in power between Harvey and Lewis because Lewis saw that Mike's file was not there.
Finally, he can be over Lewis. I feel like there's been a struggle of power that entire time.
Yeah, I think there really has been, and I feel like knowing that Mike didn't go to Harvard for Lewis is something that he wants to just scream to everyone.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's gonna not scream it to everyone, and that he's gonna keep it to himself in order to get something, maybe get higher in power than Harvey, get to be get his name on the wall. I think he's gonna use it for something.
I think even though Mike has become so much more badass and so much more like Harvey, I think Lewis knowing this information is kind of gonna send him back into the little boy who's scared, doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But so what did you think of the whole Rachel and what's it called?
Rachel and Mike.
Sorry, yeah.
Just they with Rachel going to, well, I think Rachel and Mike, I think Rachel's academics, she wanted to go to Stanford, but I think that she knew that if she went to Stanford, that long distance would not work out as much as she would want it to. Something would have come up either way. So I think that her choosing to go to Columbia is saying my relationship with Mike takes pride over anything else. And I think for her to do that is saying that's huge commitment. Yeah. And she was saying about her dad, right? That her dad wanted her to, I think it was her dad and Mike were golfing.
Oh yeah.
And then do you remember that? And then And then like her dad was saying like, you better not be like trying to get something from me. And like,
Well, I think all three of the relationships have taken a step forward. Like Harvey and Scotty, like finally admitting they want to be together. Like I know you're rooting for Donna still, just a little bit.
Yep, Harvey and Donna. That's.
I think
all I
they're
want.
definitely going to tie that in. Like even if Scotty and Harvey get together, Donna's still going to be in the back of his mind. She's still going to come in there and ruin something.
Now, do you think like when, hopefully this will never happen, but when the show ends, do you think that it'll end with Donna and Harvey being together?
Yes, they have to. How can they've known each other for so long, like something has to happen.
Yeah.
And I know Scotty and Scotty and Harvey has such a rocky history. It's not gonna just be a happy ever after ending.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen.
I think Harvey is going to have commitment issues with Scotty because I know that he cannot be in that type of a relationship with her because work will kind of come in the way.
Oh yeah.
And they're not going to be able to have work be able to work together and
No.
be like that.
It's always like a competition with him. He always has to win. It's
Exactly.
like power struggle.
Yeah. And what did you think of Donna and Steven's relationship?
Finally, she gets her revenge on him when she goes and makes him admit that he lied about Scotty knowing about the murders. I think that she deserved better, and he deserves to get anything that comes his way. Like she hurt him,
completely agree.
and she finally she put her relationship with Harvey on the line to be with him. So
Yeah, I definitely think that no matter what happens, that he should stay in jail. Donna was right. Donna and Harvey should be together. I still
we're
think.
rooting for it.
Still rooting for them. Yeah, Mike and Rachel are my favorite though. Love them all.
So it'll be coming back in January, the final 6 episodes. So stay tuned, and until then, you can check out those episodes
Of season 3, final episodes of season 3
on USA Network online, and be sure to check out the final season.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome back to Reeltv. I'm Brian C. Capon, and in honor of Thor: The Dark World being released next week, here's some Marvel trivia for you superhero fans. Here are our contestants.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hine. I'm a freshman.
Hi, I'm Sean DeLuise. I'm a junior.
All right, are you guys ready to play?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. Question 1. Who or what was the hero Daredevil blinded by? Was it A, Bullseye, B, Toxic Waste, C, Jack the Devil Murdoch, or D, the Sun? Yes.
B, toxic waste.
Let's see if that's right. And yes, you are correct. One point for you. All right. Don't worry, you can get the next one. Question 2. Chris Evans, who played Captain America in Captain America: The First Avenger, also starred in which of the following Marvel films? Was it A, Spider-Man 3, B, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, C, The Incredible Hulk, or D, X-Men Origins Wolverine? Yes, Rachel.
B.
Is it B? Yes, you are correct. It is B. He played the Human Torch. All right, now we're tied. Time for the tiebreaker. Can you name all the Avengers? Yes.
The Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, Thor, Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow.
Yes, you are correct. You got every one of them right, so you win. Good try, Rachel, though. And thank you for joining us on another episode of Reeltv. I'm Brian C. Capon, and we hope you have a good day.